We're gonna go live in a second. Bear with me, this is the boring bit.
No worries.
You didn't even tell me that you're dating a guy.
Yeah, I went on a blind date and now it's almost 2 months.
Okay. So we are live now, Shweta. Just hang on a second so I can see that everything is working on Facebook. Okay, I know that there are so many women that were really excited to hear your story today. So, well, first of all, let's introduce you properly. So here we have Shweta with us today, and she got her period back a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, not even then. And we have, Shweta is a person that it's very close and dear to my heart because we have known each other for 1 year now. I think that the first time that you reached out to me was August 2020,
Yeah.
if I'm correct. And I think that the first 2 sessions that we had, it was all about, okay, let's talk about your diet. How can we improve your caloric intake and da 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 da. And after those first 2 sessions, we stopped talking about exercise and diet altogether. Because the reality is that with you, as we just shared before jumping on this call, it wasn't only to get your period back, but there was so much more happening in the background. So, would you like to share, first of all, how you ended up in this space? How come that you developed hypothalamic amenorrhea? What happened? And yeah, and let's start from there.
Sure. So hypothalamic amenorrhea came into my life as something I even understood when I was in college. And when I was in college, I was trying really hard to find where I had value, what value I could give the world. And all of the things other people were doing, I couldn't do them. Like I couldn't gain value from them. So I was wondering, all right, well, where can I gain value? Like, how can I be beautiful? I don't look like these people. So how can I feel beautiful? What's the one thing I have that I can actually control? Because I can't really control my hair or what my face looks like, but I can control how thin I am. I can control how much I exercise. I can control how healthy I eat. And that control was something very addictive to me because it felt like I was finally able to do something for myself, to create something. I wanted a 6-pack. I got a 6-pack. I wanted to lose 10 pounds. I lost 10 pounds. I wanted to make sure I only drink juices all day. I only drink juices all day. And this went on. And I was aware of what I was doing, but I was losing a lot of weight. And my body, and I was exercising a lot. And my body started to realize, you're not healthy. Something's up. I don't feel safe. And that's when I first lost my period. I realized this is probably not the best thing. I mean, initially I was like, this is great. I don't have to worry about this. This is perfect. But then I started to understand just how unhealthy that is for my body, how much that means I'm not nourishing my body, and I got it back. But then once I graduated college and I moved to New York, the stress of my job, also wanting to have some sort of control, feel like I could prove myself. Maybe at work I was new, but I could still prove myself in how hard I was working out and how healthy I was eating. And the added factor here was that I was consuming a lot of information, like information overload of the perfect type of diets, the perfect health, the perfect exercise, how to be perfect. Like how to be perfect. And the funny thing is, one article says eat whole grains, and the next article says go grainless, and the next article says eat root vegetables, and the next one says watch your glycemic index. And so I was trying to do all of them. And you know what? There's very little foods that meet all of those diets. So I pretty much was eating raw kale and like, I don't know, avocado. And
And I remember that a conversation that we had heaps of time actually was for you going on a detox for all the informations and all the social medias, because your brain is extremely clever and you're picking up all the garbage that all the other people were basically dumping here and there.
exactly. And I think even you said it to me. You go, Shweta, do you want to be a healthcare professional? And I go, no. And you said, then it's enough. You don't need to learn anymore. You don't need to read anymore. Of
Yeah,
course, you're full. You're consuming so much information that how are you going to consume food? So it got to the point where then the pandemic hit. And I said, okay, I left my job. I moved back home and I was like, I need to feel like things are working. I need to do something, because once again, all of those things that I was doing that was giving me some sort of value, they were all gone now. And now I'm sitting as a woman in my childhood home and I don't have my period. So does that mean I'm broken? Like, am I not a woman? And that's when I came to you.
Hmm. Thanks so much for sharing all of this. And let me ask you, you came to me and we had our first few sessions. You obviously you needed to increase your caloric intake because back then you were eating very little. But what do you think that you struggle with the most during this whole process? What was the most difficult step to take, especially in the beginning?
So I was just thinking about this, but the hardest step was realizing my journey isn't going to look like anyone else's.
Mm.
And also that social media is not as transparent as many of us think it may be. Because I was sitting here on social media, seeing people exercise 2 hours a day, seeing them, go on juice fasts and intermittent fasting and all of these things. And I'm getting angry. I'm like, why do they get to do these things? And I have to sit here and eat sweet potatoes and ghee. Like, what am I doing? Like, what's wrong with me that I can't do these things? Do they not understand how lucky they are that they get to do these things? I have no idea what their stories are. I have no idea what their cycles look like. I have no ideas of any of these things. And then I would see another group of people, women, who were just like eating whatever they wanted and doing whatever and showing these big, big portions of food that they would go and eat. And I'm like, how do you do that? How do you do that and look like that and stay fit and all of those things? So there was just so many questions I had outside of myself that I forgot to think about, okay, well, you're different and different things may be beneficial for you than they are for other people. And you're trying to base it off of all of this stuff. And there was just so much anger. And there was envy too. Like, I'm so envious of this woman who can deplete her body. And I'm sitting here having to restore my body. And I would catch myself saying things like that and be like, well, that's a weird way to think. I'm jealous of somebody being able to work their body to the bone, and I get to love my body and take care of it. That's an interesting, narrative that my brain has taken on after 29 years.
But the comparison game is very real though.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's very present. I just posted something on Instagram the other day that goes to show that between 50 and 70% of women and men between age 18 to 35, they edit their pictures before they post them on Instagram. And that's something that we have to be really mindful of, because we're seeing way more people on the TV and on social medias compared to the people that we actually see in social life, in a real life, especially during the pandemic. Like if you're single and live on your own, you're basically bombarded by images of unrealistic images of people that are not true. compared to what they really look like in life. So
Yeah.
please go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was really hard. But the other thing that was really hard is I just kept asking myself, like, what's wrong with me? Is there something wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? Am I not enough? Am I not doing enough? And those are hard questions to ask yourself when your body is trying to heal.
Mm.
And I think that both the comparison and that questioning, those were the hardest parts. Everything else, there was times, how do I exercise less? How do I eat more? Like, is it okay? Like pushing past the rules, and be like, will my body be okay if I don't do this? If I eat more grains, if I eat more calories, what's my body going to do? What am I going to look like? If I don't do 150 burpees a day, instead, maybe I don't even work out every day. Whoa. Like, even like taking in that thing, like, okay, I don't work out every day, taking a rest day, even if I'm doing 150 burpees, just one day when I'm not doing any, that, like, getting into that and being okay with that. That was something that was a step by step process. And Claudia, you know this, like I would be like, Claudia, I'm eating porridge for breakfast. Okay.
Yay.
Like, that's great. Like, one thing. And then I'd add a little, okay, maybe I can eat more than a quarter of the avocado. Like, maybe I'll eat more, and just slowly adding it on. So it didn't feel like, okay, I'm just eating, a ton more calories in one go. But it was, you said it beautifully. You said, why take the highway when you've decided to take the more tourist route, the more scenic route? And I slowly, each step I made, the more and more completely open to it I was. As in, the second I get my period, I'm not going to stop doing this. Just because I got my period, I did the thing. But no, I still eat the same amount of everything. And I'm like, I enjoy this. My body needs it. Same thing with exercise. I fractured my foot in the middle of HA recovery. And that was really a blessing in disguise that showed me, hey, Shweta, walking and jumping and high impact exercise that you thought you needed. Well, after 8 weeks of not doing it, you're still alive. Oh my God. And you're still okay. And you're still good. And you're happy. And things make you laugh. So I think you're okay. So now, if I don't get to walk every day, if I don't get to do crazy exercise or anything like that, which I'm not doing much, but like, that's okay, because I know that it's been okay. I've seen it. So as fearful as I was of certain doing these things, I had the universe conspired to show me, hey, I'll take it away from you for a bit, just so you can figure, like, I have to force you to not do this so that you can realize you're okay. There's nothing wrong with you.
And can I stop for a second? Because this is so important, Shweta. Our disordered brain normally tells us that if we take a rest day, something horrible is going to happen, that our body is going to change overnight. But here it goes to show that you had a fracture, so you couldn't move for 8 weeks and nothing bad has happened to you. Possibly on the contrary, you got your period back, you kept on laughing, and you went on living your life.
Yeah, exactly. All these Netflix TV shows I said I couldn't watch. I mean, I can't binge watch TV. I don't know. I cannot sit and watch, but I watched Bridgerton and Emily in Paris and all of these. And I was like, ooh, this is, but I think that's the big thing is, yes, the disordered brain tries to trick you into thinking the only way you can survive is in the disorder. But that's false.
But that's also the reason because we decided to take the panoramic route or the touristic route and not the highway. Because sometimes it's great to take the highway if it works for you, but it doesn't really give you the space to have these insights and this mindset shift.
Yeah. And, the other thing too that I realize is it's about my agency as well. It's about my choice, in the sense that if I do make a decision, and maybe it's coming from my disordered brain, maybe, maybe I exercised a little longer than I should have. Maybe I'm making a choice to eat a certain dish over another dish because I saw that looks like it has too much fat in it. It's realizing, okay, why am I making this decision though? Where is it coming from? Is it coming from a place of fear? Or is it coming from a place of actual preference? Because some days, yeah, I do want the salad instead of the sandwich because the salad looks so gorgeous and I want to eat it. And if I'm hungry after it, I'll eat more. But some days, yeah, it's like, oh, I can't eat the sandwich. It has too much bread. Oh, why can't you eat the sandwich, Shweta? I get it. If you want the salad, eat the salad. But why can't you eat the sandwich? And so being more kind to myself, even when I hear that voice of fear come up, and just being like, okay, well, why are you afraid? Can we talk about your fear right now? Because I honor it. I honor your fear. It's hard. And it's okay if today you want to make this decision. It's okay. But just realize that this fear doesn't have to make all of your decisions. And that made me feel so much less ashamed of my disorder. Just acknowledging it as this like person who might be, this little child who might be with me every now and then that I babysit. And I have to listen to her sometimes and say, okay, well, like, why do you want to play with Play-Doh today? And have that conversation to like actually get answers, because we're in the disordered mind, we're constantly searching for answers, but we're not asking any questions, especially to the right people, ourselves. We're not asking questions to ourselves.
We're always seeking validation from the external world, and we don't think that we are good enough. You actually hit the nail in the head with a comparison with a toddler, because our disordered thoughts, they are like toddlers. If you don't bring awareness to your thoughts, then you're gonna mindlessly follow them. And it's like having a toddler in the room, screams and cry. If you don't pay attention to him or her, it's gonna scream and cry even louder. But the moment that you pick them up, you give them food, you give them some water, and you give them a pat on the back, then they're gonna calm down and they're gonna leave you alone and they're gonna go and play somewhere else. And it's the same thing for these unwelcome thoughts. So it sounds like that for you, bringing awareness to them and having that constant conversation was really what made you come into the place where you are today, allowed you to come to this place.
Exactly. And also, I think I told you I started doing this thing almost like right before we started working together. And I call them my Oh Beloved conversations. And so every night before I go to sleep, I hold myself and I say, oh, beloved. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. When I started, I was like, this is weird. I don't want to, this just feels weird. I don't like this. But I just kept doing it. And all of those thoughts, if I had a thought that I thought was bad, if I felt guilty about something, if I felt ashamed of something, I would keep it for that oh, beloved conversation. And I say, oh, beloved, today, when sometimes when you didn't eat that one thing because you were afraid of what it would do to your body, when you said no to go see a friend because you would have to eat at a restaurant and whatever, if you got angry at someone, if you thought a certain way or were jealous of someone, I still love you. I'm here. Tell me more. Why'd you feel that way? And so I knew that at the end of the day, it didn't matter how many of these moments I had in the day. And the thing is, more and more, they get less and less. And so I can just deal with them in the time that they're there. But especially for people who may have children, who may have jobs, be in school, busy individuals who can't constantly be having conversations with themselves, I was able to give myself 5 minutes at the end of the day, every day, and I still do it, where whatever comes up for me, whatever came up for me during that day, I'm talking to it now. I'm inviting it in and saying, hey, let's play.
Wonderful. And I normally have those type of conversations in the shower in the morning because we all have a shower, right? At some point during the
Yes.
day. And in those 5 minutes, marvelous things can come up. And if
Mm-hmm.
you just pay attention for a second, your life can truly change.
Yeah.
If you're just listening and you've never tried it before, it's fair enough that you're rolling your eyes, but we are here telling you that if you give it a go, you
Yeah.
can really surprise you.
Yeah. And believe me, I will be the first to admit I was rolling my eyes at the beginning too.
Fair enough, we all were. We all
Yeah.
started at the same place where we thought that we knew we had the answers, but the answers that we had were not helping us any
Yeah.
longer, and we had to find different answers. Um, Lots of women, they're gonna ask me how you knew that your period was about to come. So do you want to share with us a little bit more about when you got your period back? What happened in the day before leading to it?
Sure. So I was telling Claudia that I had this dream about 2 months before I got my period that I got it, and I was wearing white pants. And I was like, and I got a couple of those dreams like consecutively. And I was like, maybe it's coming, and I would tell my mom and my sister, I'm like, guys, I think I'm going to get it soon. I think I'm going to get it. But for a full couple weeks, I started to realize, okay, I'm starting to get hungrier. I'm not like something's up with my sleep. Oh, discharge. It's a real thing again. Like, what is this thing, And it really felt like my body was lubricating again. And I was like, interesting. This is all great. And then I could just tell there was something up with my hormones. Like, I don't know how else to explain. Like, I smelled different. I
Yeah.
wish I could explain that better. I smelled different. Um, like my digestion was different. And I'm like, something is happening. And but it didn't feel like there was something wrong with my body. See, I'm somebody who can go like the hypochondriac route and be like, what's happening? What's going on? Like, am I okay? But this didn't feel like that. I was just like, let me just ride this wave. And then, um, I was getting like a little pressure in that area. And I was just like in my lower back and kind of my lower abdomen. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I've had ghost periods before where I've had all the feelings, my breasts have been tender, and then it goes and there's no blood. Well, the next day I went to go get dinner with a friend. Thought I'd put on a pair of white pants because they just fit the occasion for the day. And I just felt a little something different. And I remember running to the bathroom and my exact dream sequence happens. And I'm just like, yes, I have my period. And that's how it came.
Oh, Shweta, I'm actually feeling goosebumps right now because we have been talking for so many months. So now I am you have been part of my life, and knowing that you actually live that moment, it makes me incredibly happy. So I have one last question for you before I let you go. What's next?
Mm. What's next is continuing on this journey
Mm.
of understanding my value instead of finding my value, trying to control my value. And I say that as a person, as a woman who believed she was broken and had to constantly prove to herself that she was not broken. I am gratefully at a place where I don't have to prove that anymore, because my purpose as a human being, as a woman, is to breathe, to experience life, to laugh, to hug, to enjoy. And I'm still doing all of those things. And someone who's broken wouldn't be able to do that. We wouldn't be able to breathe, but I'm still breathing. So I'm not broken. And so what's next is really honoring that journey for my body to understand, and hoping that I can hold space for women around me, for people around me who question how broken they may be, and to remind them that if you're still breathing, if you're still smiling, if you still wake up in the morning, you're not broken.
Wow. This is just the beginning of your journey, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. It was an incredibly powerful conversation. It's bringing me tears to my eyes. So I think that I'm gonna pause the live stream, and thank you to everyone listening, and we will talk soon. Bye. Sorry, Shweta, I'm still here with you.